We talked about CMake before, why we use it, what it is, and how to configure it to build various libraries and binaries. However, until now we targeted the development of a single project. If we want to develop multiple interdependent projects, or make our CMake project reusable by others, what we know so far is not enough. One way of doing this within the CMake world is to install a project and find it using the find package command from another CMake project. As an example, some dependent project might have an executable print.hello implemented in a print.hello.cpp file that uses a library from another core project by including its header and calling a function core project print.hello from it. To make this work, we can use an already installed core project by calling find package core project required from the CMake lists.txt file of the dependent project. After the find package is called, the print.hello executable can use the functionality from some library, which is part of the core project. Note how we do not explicitly create the sum library before linking it to our new executable print.hello, as it gets exported from the previously installed core project when we call the find package command. The dependent project builds when we call the commands very similar to those we already know, with a tiny addition of providing CMake with a CMake prefix path variable that points to the temporary install folder where, in this example, we chose to install the core project. And as a final proof, we can of course run our executable print.hello to get a hello world message printed to the terminal. So let's dive in and see how all of this works. This is quite a nuanced topic, and I'd like to start with a disclaimer that there are many ways to structure CMake projects, and even more ways to make these projects talk to each other. My aim for today is to show the concept here, and not to cover all of the possible details. As a result, I show just one way that I grew to like. I'm sure there are other ways equally good, if not better, to achieve very similar behavior, and I'm always super interested to know what works for you. So please comment below this video with your questions and suggestions, and let's have a chat. That being said, I believe that the concepts we're covering here are more or less universal and can be applied to any concrete CMake project with minor adaptation. With that out of the way, we can start our deep dive by understanding what the find package does under the hood, and just as in all other topics we've already covered, there is of course no black magic here. It is logical that in order to use the core project some library target, find package must somehow provide us with it. What it really means is that the find package command must somehow include all the CMake code that creates the needed core project some library target, as well as sets the required compiler and linker flags for it. For now, let us assume that core project has already been installed into some temporary install folder and try to understand all of the steps that find package takes to allow us to use the core project's targets. We'll get to how it was installed there in the second half of this tutorial. If we read the CMake docs, there are two modes in which find package operates, the module mode and the config mode. By default, when we call find package core project in our CMake lists.txt, CMake first tries to use the module mode and looks for a file find coreproject.cmake in the path stored under the CMake module path, as well as among the default modules provided with the CMake installation. Once found, CMake includes that file, which in CMake world means that it executes all the code from that CMake file. If CMake is unable to find the required find CMake file, or if we explicitly provide config or no module as part of the find package signature, it switches to the config mode instead. And we must note here that while module mode is the default one, in modern CMake we want to use the config mode most of the time. So what makes config mode better? On the surface, config mode works in a very similar manner to the module mode. For a call find package core project config or find package core project no module, CMake looks for a file core project config.cmake or core project -config.cmake using quite a comprehensive search procedure, starting with a path specified in the CMake prefix path CMake variable. Note that the names of these files are case sensitive. And in the second option, core project -config.cmake, the name of the project is translated into lowercase, which in our case does not make any difference, but does play a role should your project name have capital letters. However, the similarities end on the surface level. The full command for config mode has many more settings than the module mode has. And even more importantly, it is possible to generate the needed config files almost completely automatically. This was not the case in the module mode, where most of the find.cmake files historically had to be written by hand. As you might imagine, this makes the config mode much more maintainable and versatile. To the degree of my knowledge, that's the main reason why we prefer it to the module mode. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to focus exclusively on the config mode as a more modern way, but please let me know if you'd like to hear about the module mode too, as it might still be useful to understand when working with legacy code. Now that we know which files find package looks for and where it looks for them, we can take a peek inside of these files. In our case, as our core project was installed into temporary install folder, we can inspect that folder to find the file that matches our description in one of its subfolders. This file is not very large, and its most important part is that it includes another SomeLibraryExpert.CMake file. Looking around the same folder, we can easily find this expert CMake file, which has a lot more auto-generated code in it. Today we don't care about most of this code and focus on relevant parts only, starting with the creation of an imported library. The keyword imported simply indicates that the actual binary file for this library will be provided at some later point. A bit lower, there is another relevant part of auto-generated code. Here we set some of the imported target properties, like its compile features and where its descendants are going to be looking for includes. And below that, CMake looks for additional files to include. And if we look around the folder that contains the SomeLibraryExpert.CMake file, we will find more files that match this pattern. For example, SomeLibraryExpert -release.cmake. This name depends on the configuration we use during build, having a release suffix in our case as we use the release configuration by default. Looking into this new file, we can find the code that sets the relevant properties of our imported library target. Actually, here I have a couple of questions to you. Which library kind is core project SomeLibrary? And how do you think the code would change if the library would be a header-only library? Please write your answers below this video, and while you're there, please do subscribe to my channel, as only a third of you watching this are subscribed. The rest of the code in these files is not as relevant to us, as it mostly performs some checks so that CMake is sure that all the necessary files are actually present on the system, but by all means feel free to read into it when you have the time. So you see, we found the commands that create the targets, as well as those that set their relevant properties. As a final piece of this puzzle, if we examine the lib and include folders in our CMake prefix path, we'll eventually find the needed binary and header files. We have now traced the full path that CMake takes in order for us to be able to use targets from another project. To recap, we start with a call to find package that looks for a config.cmake file that includes the necessary export files that point towards the headers and the relevant binary files. We now understand how a library within a dependent project is able to use the library from the core project after a find package call. Now is a great time to figure out how these export files are actually created, as well as how the header files and all the binary files land into the install folder in the first place. We'll actually follow the diagram that we've just introduced, but in reverse, starting at the bottom and making it all the way up to its top. Before we learn how to install the project, we will have to define it so that this example does not get too abstract. We've already done very similar things before, so feel free to refer to the CMake tutorial if we rush too fast over some details here. Let's start with the C++ code. For the sake of our example, our SomeLibrary has a single function print hello that is declared in a header file SomeLibrary.hpp. With the implementation of this function that just prints hello world to the terminal living in the corresponding source file SomeLibrary.cpp. And just to test that our library actually works, let's also add an example executable to print hello.cpp file that includes SomeLibrary.hpp and calls it. The CMake part of the core project is pretty standard too. It declares a new project, chooses build type to be release if the user did not provide one, and delegates the target creation to other CMake lists.txt files within the core project and example subfolders. These other CMake lists.txt files are again nothing special, and we've seen their kind before. In the core project CMake lists.txt, we use a library name CMake variable for convenience, create our library target, set its C++ standard to C++ 17, indicate to it and its descendants, where to look for the includes, and finally create an alias for this library that is prefixed by the project name. Strictly speaking, this alias is not required, but it is a good practice to use the library in the same way from within the project as well as in other projects. We will see why a little bit later. Note also how we specify the includes for our library target. Here we use the so-called generator expressions. Essentially, they have a condition before the colon symbol, and the value that will be used should this condition be true after the colon symbol. In this case, for a normal build, the library target's include directory's property is going to be the current CMake source directory. And for when we install this project, it is going to magically change into include, which will be appended to the install directory. As for the examples, CMake list.txt, it creates an executable print hello and links it to the core project some library target. For now, we have done nothing new, so we already know that we can easily configure and build our project with CMake. Once it builds, we can run the example binaries without any issues. But we're still unable to use this library from our dependent project, aren't we? All of the special export and config files are missing. We say that we install a CMake project when we make CMake create the config and export files, as well as copy all the headers and binaries into the needed folders where they can be found by other projects. And for now, our core project does not know how to install itself at all. This installation process usually involves a couple of steps. It must copy all the needed headers into some include folder, then copy all of the binary libraries into a lib folder and all executables into a bin folder, at least typically. Create the appropriate export CMake files that create and configure the imported libraries. And finally, create the config.cmake file that includes all of the needed export files. And there is a special CMake command that we can call to kick off all of these steps, CMake -- install, which also gets an optional -- prefix flag that sets the folder into which this package will be installed. We call this command after configuring and building the project. Here we aim to install our package into some temporary install folder, but a more standard location like user local can be used if the -- prefix flag is omitted. Note though that in such a case we have to call this command with sudo rights. However, if we call the install package for our package now, nothing happens. To actually perform all of the actions we've just talked about, we need to write some more CMake code. But fear not, there is a number of different built-in CMake install commands that help us in most of these steps. Let's look at all of these steps in detail. Our first step is to copy the headers over. We add the following code to the end of the core project CMake file. This install command finds all the HPP files in the folder specified under directory, in our case core project, and copies that directory and all the matching files into the include folder, as the destination option specifies. If you also need to copy other header files, like .h files for example, you can always adapt the files matching pattern. If we try installing our package after adding this CMake code to our project, we'll be able to find the only header in our core project installed into the expected location. Here we only have one header, but I hope it's easy to imagine that we can do this for any number of headers and in any number of folders. I prefer to add these install statements on a per folder basis. This way we do not have to add too much code while keeping the folder structure intact. That being said, I've also seen people adding a single similar install statement to the topmost CMake list.txt file of the project instead with minor modifications. Now that the headers are all installed, we need to do the same for the binary files. We do this by adding another install command to core project CMake list.txt file, as well as one more to core project examples CMake list.txt file for installing our example binaries. This will automatically install all the executables to a bin folder and all of the binary libraries to a lib folder. With this, all of our binary and header files are where we want them to be, but we still lack the export.cmake files to tell CMake where to find them. One classical way to create these export files is to change the install targets command slightly for each of our library targets, well, in our case just one, by adding an export entry to them. Now this command not only installs the binary library file into the lib folder, but it also associates it with an export CMake file. But this command alone is not enough for us, as it does not actually copy the created export file to the install folder. However, we do find it in the build folder. So what remains is to copy this already generated file to the install folder, which we can do using yet another install command that copies our export file to the temporary install share folder. Note also the namespace option that adds the project prefix to all targets that we export within the export files. Super handy to disambiguate our targets from any other ones. Also, this matches our own alias that we created before, keeping everything nice and consistent. Finally, with the export files in place, we only need to create the missing config files so that find package can find all the export files that we've just created. This process is a bit convoluted and involves a couple of steps. To create the core project config.cmake file, we typically call configure package config file from the CMake package config helpers that we include into our main cmakelist.txt file. For this to work, we need to create a template file that in its simplest form includes all the export files we created before. We can specify the export files by hand, but we can also use a glob expression that matches any file that ends in export.cmake. Passing this cmake.in file into configure package config file, we create a project name config.cmake in the current build folder. Note that this file is still not installed. Before we install it though, we'll also need to generate another very similar file, project name config version.cmake, by calling the write basic package version file command. In our example, we choose a version to match our project version. This plays a role when we specify a version within the find package call. We will not go into more details here, but I'm sure that after this tutorial everybody should be able to look it up in the docs. Finally, our last step is to copy the just generated config files into the install folder, which we can do with yet another install files command, providing all of our config files in the build folder into it, and as before specifying their install destination. And now we're done with installing. If we run cmake -- install command again and look at how the install folder tree looks like, it will contain all of our headers, all of our binary files, as well as the export and config files needed to configure all of the targets. One final thing to do now is to add the find package call to our dependent project, of course. We've already seen this at the start of this tutorial. And just as before, we can configure and build this project. Because we've installed our core project into a custom folder, we need to tell CMake where to look for packages by providing it with a CMake prefix path. Note that we do not need to provide an explicit CMake prefix path value if we installed our core project in a standard system-wide location like user local. Running these commands builds our dependent project without issues, and we can run the binary that we've just built too. Now we've fully closed the loop on this topic. We started by understanding how find package works under the hood, what files it looks for in which folders. We then went bottom up and learned how to configure a project to install all of these files, ending with a fully working minimal 2-project example that we can return to whenever we need to set up a more complex installation procedure. As always, I believe that learning new things comes from doing, so I urge you to play around with these examples. There is a number of questions I urge you to think about. How would you install more libraries than one? What changes in the generated export files if we make the library header only? And how to install the dependent project too? If you're able to answer all of these questions, then for my money you understand this topic quite well. The CMake installation process is not a thing cast in stone. It changes over the years, and just as we move to a more target-based build, we're probably also going to be moving away from what is presented here and towards a more target-based install. But as it stands now, I believe that what we've covered today is still the most popular way to install packages, and can be found in most CMake projects in the wild, with slight differences here and there, which after this tutorial should be easier to spot and understand. Thanks a lot for your time, and for watching this to the end. Watching these videos fully seems to be very important for YouTube algorithm to recommend these videos to more people. So if you want to help out, please just let the video play fully through. It helps me a lot. I intentionally keep all of this content, including all of the code on GitHub, free and available to everybody, as I believe that education should be accessible. If you agree with this and would like to support this work, there are ways in the description below this video. And if you need a refresher on what CMake does, you can watch this video over here, while if you'd like to see how one can configure Google Test with CMake, head over here instead. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time. Bye!